Sales teams today move extremely fast and work cross-functionally with members within your internal organization like marketing, IT, CS, and legal, and even externally with services and partnership teams. Unfortunately for most sellers today, communicating, planning, and finding relevant resources with your team has become an immense challenge because of the multitude of ways information is siloed and shared. Whether that be through things like phone and video calls, you have emails going to and from the customer, you have reps storing documents and plans within Excel and PowerPoint, which are siloed from the CRM, and then you also have this immense amount of data that's within your Salesforce platform, things like ERP systems, opportunities, your contacts that you work with on a day-to-day basis. These issues cause sellers to waste time, lose opportunities, and fall short of customer expectations, which hurts reps' earning potential and the company's bottom line. It's for these very reasons that I'm thrilled to be able to walk you through the Prolifiq platform today, which is a native Salesforce application designed at eliminating these silos of information to give teams and data one place to collaborate around the strategy, relationships, and goals for your customers and prospects. Now, Prolifiq has specifically designed three main applications to help solve for all of these issues for customers. We have our relationship map component, which allows teams to build out dynamic hierarchical maps, which allow you to visualize your Salesforce contacts, leads, opportunity data, all within a visual relationship map so you can truly understand who's leveraging who's supporting you across your customer base, and ultimately who you need to align your team with in order to grow or expand those relationships, which means so much to your customers. We also have Prolifiq Crush. That's our full account planning solution. This is inclusive of a relationship map, but also allows teams to build out dynamic plans specific to prospecting, opportunity, account plans, or even global account plans, which can help you manage an entire global subsidiary and all of its other accounts in one specific location within Salesforce, so you can really understand the teams involved within it, the relationships, your white space or cross-sell analysis, or even a SWOT analysis tied to it. And then lastly, we have Prolifiq Ace. Prolifiq Ace is our content management solution, which allows teams and marketing users to upload content and to serve that content up to users where they're working on a day-by-day basis. So no longer do you have to go in and search through emails, old files on your computer to find the most relevant, up-to-date piece of marketing material. We have it all living and breathing within Salesforce, where you can drive analytics against it and share that content all in one location. Now let's jump over to Salesforce and we'll take a first-hand look at Prolifiq Crush. Now let's hop over to Salesforce and we'll take a first-hand look at the Prolifiq platform, starting with Prolifiq Crush. So the first thing that we'll do here is we'll jump into our account that we have for Big Sky Worldwide. Now Big Sky Worldwide is a parent account in Salesforce which has a multitude of child subsidiaries. But what Prolifiq has done is we've built a multitude of Salesforce native components and Lightning components which allow users to take advantage of all of the existing data that you have within your Salesforce platform. That goes from your accounts, contacts, opportunities. This helps not only build out plans with relevant data, it also helps maintain that information so reps aren't having to copy and paste information out of your Salesforce instance in order to update old, outdated Excel files or PowerPoint decks out of the CRM. We also get to take advantage of all the same security and analytics that Salesforce has to offer. This is extremely valuable because now you can run reports to see information and insights across all of your different account plans, opportunity plans, how teams are leveraging those, and to start to drag take those insights and action on them. Now, what we're going to start with today is Prolifiq's account planning tool. Now, we do have other solutions which you can access directly from the account record, like Relationship Map and Ace Content, but we're going to get to those towards the end of this demonstration. For today's purposes, we're going to go into our account planning solution first, which is Crush. Now, Crush allows teams to build out two different types of plans. You have your account plans here, which allow users to develop different templates for specific account planning processes. We have the concept of prospecting plans. This allows users to go in and to develop plans which are geared towards guiding teams through that initial outreach, the discovery of a customer, and guiding them through that approach. You have different paths to guide them through the messaging, the company background and profile over here on the left side, and your targeted ICP and personas that you want every team to go after and identify. We also have the concept of opportunity plans. This allows users to go in and manage all of the opportunity-specific details in one location. You can manage your opportunity fields and records, create quotes from here, but more importantly, you're creating one single location where I can track everything around that specific pursuit. I have basic standardized business questions here. I can implement any methodology that the team has in place today. We are a methodology agnostic company, so you can import things like BANT, MEDIC, Sandler, Challenger methodology, all in one location, and start to track and spot early signs of where deals are potentially at risk and offer coaching opportunities to those. You also have areas here where you can map out the different stakeholders a part of those deals. So who's who within the organization, what are those buying roles and opportunities and insights associated with it. And don't worry, we're going to get into this a little bit more detail once we jump into the account plan itself, which is going to be the next version of a plan that we're ultimately tied to here as well. Now, whenever we get into account plans within Salesforce, you'll notice the look and feel here is very much like Salesforce. That makes it easy for teams to adopt this. They can jump into this the same way that they go into any other record into the platform today to start to build out and maintain those plans. But this provides one location for everyone from CS, IT, marketing to go in and access all of the data around your current customers or pursuits that teams are going after today. Now, right when you get into the plans, you'll have different elements at the top which allow teams to bring in things like team members so who can access plans, who has visibility into those as well, just controlling from a security or visibility standpoint. We also have other elements and integrations up here at the top. First and foremost is our scoring component. This allows teams to score on different elements of the plan and track how teams are building out and maintaining those plans over time. So for example, we have scores based on key stakeholders here. This is based off of our relationship mapping component. So it could be something as simple as, hey, has the reps gone in and identified 5 contacts at that account? You're going to get 5 points. Have they identified a champion, an economic buyer? So you can spot potentially what reps are doing the good actions that you want to reinforce across the planning process and that customer life cycle itself. You can also set time decay against any of these, just meaning that, hey, if you don't have any contact with any of those users over a 30, 60, 90-day time frame, we can start to reduce that score just to spur other actions and notify reps to take action as well. You also have other integrations up here at the top. Now, I'll include a link at the end to a Slack video which goes through our Slack integration, but you can also bring in any other tool that you have integrated into Salesforce and leverage that data. So whether that be things like ZoomInfo, where you wanted to bring in contact information and import that directly to the map, Tableau, where you can build out dynamic dashboards or CRM analytics or Power BI. You also have Gong, which you can bring in, or Chorus, which you can bring in the entire conversation history with all these other tools and solutions that sales teams are leveraging today. Now, when we think about the general layout of plans and how teams go about that process, it really follows 4 main areas. You have your overview section over here on the left side, which allows teams to build out dynamic questions, but to standardize what information matters most to you as an organization, and how do you guide the teams through that. You have open areas up here at the top for reps. You also have other specific questions which are completely customizable based on what information you want teams to gather. This way, it's always in the same location for reps and everyone has access to it, but more importantly, it's all reportable. So I can see across all of our plans where we're progressing against our revenue goals, where we have open areas for strategic priorities, any information on the annual report or financial information if it is a large public company, and teams can ultimately go in and develop other types of information or point of views which some teams leverage, which is things like SWOT analysis or rate analysis, where teams can go in and define those strengths, opportunities, weaknesses, and threats as it relates to any other account. However, after teams have gone through really what I consider the what, which is the what are we doing here, what is the basic information around that customer profile, we then get into the who. This is where teams start to leverage those Salesforce contacts in order to build out these dynamic relationship maps so you can truly understand who's who across an organization. Now, our relationship map leverages your Salesforce contacts in the org. You can bring in any contact that you have across the Salesforce platform or create new ones directly from the map, but it allows teams to very easily build out these dynamic visual relationship maps where they can start to add in other attributes around these contacts. So we just brought in Alice Patel onto this account, who's the Chief Legal Officer. Maybe we want to bring in internal users as well onto the map or other leads. This is really dynamic to where teams can start to go in, and after they bring in contacts, they can start to add in other attributes around those to visualize who's who across an organization and who we're aligned with and who we ultimately need to target. So for example, for Alice Patel, we just brought her onto the map. We can go down to our influence chart below and define, well, what is she? to our organization. Is Alice a blocker, neutral, support, or champion? Is she of low, medium, high influence? We can quickly drag and drop these users across the org, but more importantly, this information can now be leveraged by other teams, whether it's marketing teams who want to understand who are our blockers or add users to campaigns like our champions to certain campaigns on the back end, or maybe other leaders that want to understand who's who across different deals or pursuits and who they should align with from an executive standpoint. This information is automatically updated on the maps above, and then users can go in and add in any other type of important information, such as things like badges, which can define buyer groups, roles and responsibilities through legal teams, and also define other elements like maybe even a buying path across this org. So maybe I want to understand the deal starts with Walt Miller, goes up to Ricky Johnson for a decision, over to Mike Wilson for budget, and then we're going to say it's going to go over to Alice Patel for legal approval before it ultimately goes up to Sandra Smith for signature across this deal in pursuit. But the benefit here is because you're building this information out in Salesforce, you are building out your own dynamic library and internal knowledge base around these users and contacts. I can click into anyone and see, okay, well, for Sandra Smith, what's her influence and support on this deal? Has she been a blocker for us on any other opportunities in the past? How has she transformed over time? Who other teams can I leverage in order to understand this contact, to get alignment to that specific user? We have information around their groupings, their badges, their reporting hierarchies, all of the different opportunities, tasks, and campaigns in Salesforce and responses back to those. You're creating one single spot where teams can go in, search, and understand any of that information associated with an account. Now, after you've understood the who, then you want to understand is where can we sell into? And that's where cross-sell comes into play. This is our white spacing function, which allows teams to pull in information dynamically from Salesforce and then ultimately enter in their own custom data that they want to on top of that. Now, for most teams, in terms of how they view white space, they like to see not only the account that they're on, but also different departments, line of businesses, or even child subsidiaries that roll up into that within Salesforce. And then across the top, we have different products and services. Now, within the center cells, we can automatically map out for users different information that's pulling from Salesforce data. So you have things like, if I wanted to see where we have the largest current spend, I can click into Americas here in the cell, and I can quickly go in and identify any of that underlying opportunity data. I can see where we have current spend, where we have areas for growth and expansion, and even what the addressable market is for each one of these product lines or even accounts within Salesforce. I can also enter in any custom data that I want to as well. Things like competitive information, and all of that is going to be reportable across your accounts so you can quickly understand, stack rank across those accounts where you have the biggest areas for growth and expansion. Where is there the most competitive spend or competitive wallet share taking up for your accounts? And how do we start to create a plan to attack and capture that growth for our specific customers and our products and services? Now, this information then goes into our strategy component where you then start to build out your specific objectives for an account. This is where teams start to go in, define those overarching goals and objectives, and also the individual actions that are associated with them as well. We also roll up all of the opportunity data for those users and a mutual action plan for where they can start to schedule out key reminders and dates in the future so that everyone's aware around upcoming action items for the specific plan and pursuit. Now, as we mentioned at the beginning, all of these account plans and the information within them does roll up into what we consider as a master account plan. Now, master account plans is a new concept for us, but it's a really impactful area for teams where you can start to eliminate different silos of information and roll up all of the data from existing plans into one single location. This is really beneficial for global account directors, managers of teams where maybe you want to have individual plans at different child subsidiary levels or different accounts as a whole. Our master account plans allow teams to automatically roll up all of that data to create different experiences where you can see a 13-week trending score in terms of how teams are progressing on those plans, all of the objectives and actions associated with them, and a roll-up of the relationships that teams are ultimately trying to target. So whether you wanted to see the stakeholders that were involved in that individual plan that we were just showing today, or if we want to jump into another plan that we have here, which would be our opportunity plan to understand who is involved in a specific pursuit at that account. All extremely powerful ways for teams to go about finding that information. Now, the last piece of information that we're going to go through today is ultimately going to be our ACE content solution. So after teams have gone through the planning process, You then want to understand, well, how do we serve up relevant content for those users as they're going through that journey, whether it's through our account plans themselves or just as they're accessing opportunities and accounts on a day-by-day basis. Now, ACE is our content management solution, which allows teams to recommend content based on any information within Salesforce. So when I click into Big Sky Worldwide, I can see that this is a customer and it's of the technology industry. Well, I can filter down our entire content library to just serve up relevant content based on that type of information. Whether it's at the account record and you want to do it based on the industry or type of customer, or whether we go into an opportunity, for example, here, and we want to serve up content that's specific to the products that you've added to it. So I don't have to go in and find any of that information, or even to the stage that you're at within that opportunity. So when we're at the value proposition stage, I want to show things like case studies or starting to do onboarding documentation there as well. This allows users to go in, find that content very simply and easily, to recommend it. They can feature and favorite their own content within Salesforce, where you can push marketing and relevant materials to those users, and they can take action on all of these pieces of content directly from Salesforce. So whether I want to go in and generate specific links for different case studies that I have, where I can send those out and I can track how the customer is engaging with that information from their clicks, their views, how long they read that piece of content for. I can also email that content directly from Salesforce or take any other actions with it here as well. Just makes it really simple and easy for teams to find, send, and share any relevant information as they're going through that buying process and sales journey within Salesforce. Now, the last thing that I'll mention here is just the reportability of the platform. With Salesforce, we get to take advantage of all of the existing reportability that you have, where you can understand things like where we have open opportunities, where we have account plan performance, where teams can see across all of their account plans, what's their revenue goal, sum of actual revenue. Do we have the pipeline to cover that information? Do we want to stack rank different information around those accounts, understanding things like what's our total addressable market? Where is there the most competitive spend across our customers? How are we progressing, or how's that trending over the last 6 months or year within any one of these specific accounts? You also have other dashboards for other opportunity-specific pursuits, so you can understand things like where do we have the most current month ACV? What's our pipeline coverage to goal this month? And out of that pipeline, what's at risk? Well, it can be at risk based on any information from these plans themselves, whether it's information around the C-suite, MAP members where you're single-threaded on any of those accounts. Do we want to roll up any of the key dates, objectives, or tasks? We'll also provide other trending analysis, which will be impactful for your teams to understand things like how does the number of contacts in specific deals actually impact your win rate? How does it impact your sales cycle time? How does the titles and personas in those adjust that over time as well? So when you are engaged with a C-suite member or a VP title, how does that impact our success at any one of these specific accounts? How is the reps going in and managing these plans or identifying new contacts to engage with month over month? There's a lot we can do here with us being a native Salesforce solution.